Boom. All right, what's up, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about the absolute carnage that took place today in the Bitcoin mining sector. Miss Mara, the largest cap in the sector, down a staggering 27% today and down even more in after hours, which of course did cast a shadow over the entirety of the sector. This price action catalyzed by some bad news, which of course we will be diving into. Riot Blockchain closing the day down under 5%, so definitely not as bad, but Riot Blockchain did just announce earnings in after hours, so we will be taking a look at that earnings report. And even though, in my opinion and the opinion of many who kind of understand the business of Bitcoin mining, these year-over-year numbers that Riot reported were very, very impressive, and the outlook is very good. Bitcoin on the balance sheet looking good as well, but unfortunately Riot is down 5-6% in after hours as well. This could be attributed to Bitcoin's price action right now. Of course, we will take a look at the king as we talk about the Bitcoin miners, but again, you guys, the vibe around this sector as a whole, Bitcoin, of course, if Bitcoin is performing poorly, if Bitcoin isn't looking strong, if people are getting a little sus, losing that optimism that they once had, of course that will bleed over into the miners because they share the same sentiment. And of course, a lot of the time, the price action of the miners is amplified price action of Bitcoin. And Mara down again, freaking 30% today is just insane. So a lot of people are scared. A lot of people got margin called. If you were holding Mara, if you were holding Mara calls, my condolences, that truly does suck. But the main thing is, you guys, stay in the game. If you get thrown curveballs, because curveballs happens all the time, if you're playing, especially in this hyper growth realm, you got to expect curveballs, these small cap hyper growths, because with the ups come the downs as well. And again, curveballs happen. Main thing is you adapt and you keep moving forward. Okay, so TED Talk over. Let's get into a few of my thoughts around what's going on in this sector. As always, we'll quickly go over the topics we'll be discussing and then we'll dive on in. So, trading view. Again, we will kick it off with Bitcoin. If we're talking Bitcoin miners, we got to talk Bitcoin first. So, Mars chart is currently in front of us, just so you guys can see that staggering. Let's bring up price action what quick. You guys know what the price action was. From the high to the low, 28% correction. Again, for Mara, which before today had what, like a $7.5 billion market cap. Very, very staggering correction. Again, Mara has been on an absolute tear. We haven't known, but we've been saying for the past couple of weeks, again, as the gap between Mara and Riot has widened, that Mara was becoming overextended. And again, the difference in the operational capacities and the mining capacities, especially as proven today in Riot's earnings call, do not justify the difference in market cap. So Riot, even after today's pullback, is currently sitting probably $3.5 billion market cap. Mara, after today's pullback, at $5.5 billion market cap. I will say right off the bat, I do believe that Riot will play catch-up. This catch-up will continue. I think the last episode we said that over the course of November, getting into December, I think they'll meet somewhere in the middle around 55. So Mara definitely beat me to the punch, again, off the back of some bad off some bad news. Again, of course, playing into the technicals as well. So we'll take a look at these three on the charts. I'll talk to you guys about downside price targets and potentially how I see some of the capital flowing from Mara into Riot, like we've been talking about. But again, now this fundamental catalyst will definitely expedite that process and propel some of the capital that I already believed was going to flow from Mara into players like Riot, bitfarms, etc. Even quicker. Okay, so there's a shock right now. Again, Riot down a little bit in after hours following their earnings. I think that's a shock. I do think that these will make a comeback. Bitcoin really dropping right now, so that will be fun to look at. We will take a look at BTC on the charts, but in terms of news articles, damn, BTC falling knife actually just broke. BTC just broke a pretty significant line of support, so that's going to be exciting to dive into. Once we do, in terms of news, we will cover, of course, the reasons that Mara fell today. So Marathon receives SEC subpoena related to 2020 hardened data center agreement shares tumble. Okay, so we'll look over that. We will then go over this article from the Motley Fool talking about why Marathon Digital stock plummeted more than 20% today, almost 30%, going over the share offering as well. So Mara investors, I should say, experienced the double-edged sword today, or the double-edged guillotine, I guess, in this case, because this thing right now is a falling knife, you guys. Bitcoin just broke support. This is pretty bad news. And again, this trend line, just to give you guys a saving grace, this trend line right here, or this area, this floor right here, is important. So we'll talk about that as we dive in. But we'll go over this, just a few paragraphs here as well, talking about that capital offering. Of course, if you guys are if you're diluting your market cap, or if you're diluting your float, if you're pushing more shares in the market, it's like we learned with the dollar, the good old USD, right? The more you print, the less valuable it becomes. That's just supply and demand 101. Okay, so we'll go over this as well after we cover these, cover the fundamentals, just kind of base out with the fundamentals. We will dive in tomorrow on the charts. I'll talk to you guys about where how low I can see this thing going, and how I see the remainder of the month playing out, even maybe. And then we'll talk Riot's earnings. So Riot Blockchain reports record third quarter 2021 financial results, current operational and financial highlights. So we'll go over this bad boy prior to jumping into Riot, and then we'll close out the video on the charts with Riot. Okay, so before we get into it, you guys, I know it's hard to get videos likes on days like today's. It's pretty rough. I know a lot of you, again, for real, if you were holding Mara, if you're part of the portfolio and stuff, you'd know that I completely got rid of my Mara positions last week. So if you were holding Mara, if you were holding calls, if you got margin called, and no, for sure some of you guys watching that happened to. So moment of silence for those. Take a shot of whiskey for you later. But again, you guys, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Just keep your head up, and that's the game. That's the game you're playing. That's what you sign up for. Builds thick skin, builds a strong stomach. You got to get slapped in the face every once in a while to know you're alive, right? Okay, so please give the video a like if you do go on to gain value from it today. If you're still bullish on Bitcoin, although a lot of people aren't, optimism is definitely dropping. You can see it right here on the chart on that watch list as we record. But if you're still optimistic, if you still believe in the long-term fundamentals of the names we're talking about today, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. If for some reason you're watching, you're not subscribed, trying to get to 50K, pretty much stagnating, please help me get to 50K. Check that off the list. That means a lot as well. And of course, if you want to know exactly how I'm personally trading these stocks, the calls and stuff, I was fortunate enough today to actually close the day out in the green because of some other positions that I'm very excited about right now. Shout out to the newsletter portfolio group, the Discord. You guys know what those are. But again, you guys, that's the importance. Also, no matter how bullish you are, if you're super bullish on Riot, never go all in. Never go all into one play, especially if you're doing calls. Never do that, okay? Keep a diversified portfolio. That's why we talk about so many different sectors here on the channel. I know a lot of you guys are solo crypto or just super excited about crypto, but it's so important, especially in this market environment during this season, to stay diversified, okay? So again, if you want to know exactly how I'm personally trading on a day-to-day basis, you want to know my exact calls, exact puts, exact stock positions, crypto positions, when I'm getting in, when I'm getting out, when I'm adding to positions, taking profits, etc., along with a rationalization of why I'm trading the way I'm trading in the daily newsletter, that's going to be the first link down below. 15 bucks a month, 40 bucks for every 3 months. Again, today was rough for a lot of you, I know, but again, it's okay. And that's just the game, you guys. If you've been following along, you would know this is a game of cycles. Once again, if you're playing, especially if you're playing these sectors that we talk about here on the channel, that's the nature of these markets, okay? It all works in cycles. And again, if you want to learn from my failures and learn from my successes, again, good times usually going into the winter months, so excited for the times to come. It's been a good week so far. Kicking it off on kind of weird note. Last week was huge, so that was I'm very thankful for that. And anyway, if you guys want to know what I'm doing personally, first link down below once again. Appreciate it. If not, no worries though. Let's read over this and then dive into Miss Mara on the charts. So Bitcoin miner shares plummeted 27% on Monday, significantly underperforming other crypto miners. Marathon Digital Holdings executives received a subpoena from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to produce documents and communications concerning its Hardin, Montana data center facility, the company said in a 10-Q filing on Monday. The SEC is investigating whether Marathon Digital Holdings has been in violation of federal securities law. Not good. Mara Holdings said it was cooperating with the investigation without specifying the nature of possible violations. Okay, so you guys, as always, go on to read more into this for yourself, especially if you're personally trading these Bitcoin miners. But that's the gist of it, you guys. Whenever the SEC is digging through your trash, that's not good. They're going through your cabinets. They're rummaging through your files. That's not a good sign. And of course, they could come out of this well if Marathon provides all the necessary documents, and everything could come out fine. But from an optics perspective, which also matters more than ever. Optics matter more than ever. That is a fact in winter of 2021. It's not good. And on top of this news as well, bad news here. Today's price action appears to have little to do with where cryptocurrency prices are. Rather, investors appear to be factoring in a large capital raise that the company announced today. So what? How large is large? Shout out to the author here. Credit where credit's due. Chris McDonald of The Motley Fool. Well, Marathon's unsecured senior convertible debt offering could bring in as much as $575 million. If fully subscribed, that's a very decent chunk of change for a company with a market cap that is now below $6 billion. Again, before today was like almost 7.5, I think. Investors clearly appear to be taking issue with this offering. Some of this sentiment could certainly be attributed to its size. Such a big convertible debt offering potentially alters the capital structure of the company permanently. But the fact that this was done via convertible debt rather than a share offering appears to have some investors worried. Those with convertible notes will be paid regardless of what the share price does. Thus, the lack of full participation from large investors in what many view as a stock with tremendous upside potential has some smaller retail investors worried. The company intends to use the funds from its convertible debt offering to purchase additional Bitcoin miners and Bitcoin itself. Accordingly, there could be some hesitation among investors looking at Marathon as a company levering up to buy Bitcoin, particularly near all-time highs, which makes perfect sense, and again plays also into the price action we're seeing in Bitcoin right now. If Bitcoin doesn't fall below this 4-hour, or if this 4-hour candle doesn't close below this line of support, good news. But again, as long as we're above here, there's still hope. Okay, so let's explain that right now. Okay. Bitcoin, let's zoom out a little bit. Not looking good right now, you guys. I thought this little inverse head and shoulders pattern might play out right here. Shoulder, little barely ahead though, and shoulder. I was hoping we'd play out this head and shoulders and go on to test the top side of resistance on this ascending channel, which are these two green lines right here. Let's zoom out a little bit, which Bitcoin did just break. So technically, I guess you could go like that. That's kind of a stretch right there, though. So I feel safe about doing that. Again, if Bitcoin, by the time you guys watch this, if Bitcoin is above safely, if Bitcoin can reclaim $63,000 by the end of today, we will have reclaimed this ascending channel, set in this higher low, which is this red line right here. So in Bitcoin's overall uptrend, again, you guys see a lot of volatility, a lot of sideways price action. Like the price we're at right now, we were at in mid-October, okay? A month ago, we were at this price. So exactly a month ago, we were at the exact 62,000 mark that we were at. And we've just been trading sideways. Obviously, a lot of volatility, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. This is a roller coaster, but pretty much trading in the sideways range. That said, we are still in a technical series of higher highs and higher lows on this overall uptrend. So high right here, 67K. Low, the long low, set in another high, all-time high, boom, set in another all-time high just about a week or so ago at just under $69,000. And looks like we're going to kind of repeat this exact pattern once again. So a lot of sideways price action, but still, you know what, if you want to count this, still technically, as long as we're above like $59,000, you could consider this in the overall uptrend a higher low. Okay, it doesn't seem like it seems slow, which it is, slow and steady, but again, there's just a lot more hype around other players in the market right now. Ethereum, although everything's kind of selling off in the wake of Bitcoin selling off, that's just the nature of the markets as well. But there's a lot of hype around Web3, the technological DeFi aspects. Obviously, the metaverse is huge. We're big on the metaverse around these parts. Waves fam, we love that mana. Okay, so there's just more hype. There's capital flowing from Bitcoin. That's the capital that would be investing in Bitcoin and pushing it to new all-time highs is seeing more potential in, once again, these Web3, these metaverse plays like Ethereum, Mana, and a lot of other ones. Render is one I'm keeping an eye on as well right now. So, again, you guys, it's not looking good. Volume is pretty low. But there is still hope. So I would say as long as we're above 60K also a psychological even, we are still setting in this higher low. And again, if by the time you guys watch this, we can reclaim 63, which is very possible as well. You see, even as this dip down, these sell orders are getting pretty quickly eaten up with buy orders. That's a good sign. So let's just hope there are still more buyers than sellers, if not for Bitcoin, but for the crypto market in general. But again, you guys, although we thought things would speed up, and they definitely can. It's Bitcoin. You don't know what can happen in these markets. But things can happen fast, as we are seeing right now, as we saw today. But hopefully the cloud that Mara has cast, the shadow that Mara has cast over the entirety of this sector, the evil shadow that is, does pass with time. And I do hope that some of the capital, as we've been saying, catch up we've been following these stocks for a long time, you guys. Miss Mara, Queen Mara, and King Riot. You know, the king and queen always like to play catch up. That's a very OG reference for those of you who know. If you know, you know. Drop a crown in the comments if you do. But these always play catch up. And again, sometimes you can't explain how the fundamentals feed into the technicals, but we've been talking about that a lot lately, and it just continues to happen. So I'm convinced that these will reach the same share price, especially following Riot's earnings today. Let's talk about Mara on the charts real quick. Give you guys my downside price targets, what I think is going to go down tomorrow, maybe by the time a lot of you watch this as well even. And then we'll take a look at Riot's earnings and close it out with Riot, okay? So Mara, let's just get rid of these because these get annoying. Mara, again, staggering drop, falling off an absolute cliff today. You hate to see it if you're invested, but in a kind of a cruel way. Once again, my condolences to you if you were invested, especially if you had calls. This is what we've been talking about. This is what we have been expecting. This is exactly what I was calling for the past few weeks. Again, the farther that these two, the farther that Mara and Riot, the more they diverge, the more bullish I become on Riot. And that's been the case for Mara and Riot over the past few months now. Mara has been absolutely smoking on the back of not great operational capacity. Like, everyone thinks that Mara has great operational capacity, but even in this, shout out to the Discord, whoever, I think Sos posted this in the Discord. Shout out to Discord. That link's down below as well. YouTube 25 for 25 bucks off. Great people in there. They posted this in there. So this shows that Riot's, the top Bitcoin miners, this just shows Bitcoin balance sheet, hash rate, exahashes per month, and Riot on pretty much all fronts, aside from hash rate, which is just 0.1 off, is ahead of Mara by every means. So that doesn't make sense. Why Mara would have a $7 billion market cap and Riot is half the size? Okay, so again, that did play into it today. That played into the technicals today. Again, obviously, these two pieces of news are what kind of catalyzed that snowball going downhill. But I do think some of the capital from Mara is going to flow into Riot and players like Bitfarm, which is another play I like in the sector. Bitfarm holding in pretty well today, actually closing the day in the green, which is pretty insane. So Bitfarm's holding up well. I know you saw that in kind of that Discord, that little Discord clip too as well. But I do think capital will flow from Mara into Riot. Mara right now is a falling knife. Again, Riot's all-time high, 80 bucks. Mara just set a new all-time high like a week ago. So that's important to remember while testing the top side of this channel. That like super significant support, proven again as resistance back in April. Finally retested, perfectly retested. Again, the beauty of trend lines, you guys. You can't discount a trend line like that. Perfectly tested, almost to the T on November 9th. The high we saw at 82 bucks. And again, it was only a matter of time. Mara was so overextended on so many different fronts with, and it just didn't have the fundamentals to compensate for the price action that it's been seeing and the market cap that it's obtained. And yeah, I do think capital will begin to flow from Mara into players like Riot, into players like Bitfarms, btbt, etc. Whatever your favorite Bitcoin miner is, let me know down below if you want to share. But yeah, I do think that after the shock of Riot's earnings and let's just close out the technicals on Mara, then we can just talk Riot, because I don't really want to beat it. I really want to beat a dead horse. It's a morbid saying. I don't think I've ever said that, but it's a saying. So you guys get it. Yeah, you guys get it. We are retesting this previous high back here set just about a month ago. So this is still pretty light, you guys. I personally think Mara will fall further. Maybe base out a higher low on this uptrend and just go sideways in this range around 50 to $55 makes sense to see Mara just trade within that $50 to $55 range. Granted, Bitcoin does kind of recover. If it goes down, then Mara could definitely drop to easily drop to like $30 to $45. We'll just cross those bridges when we come to them. But Mara not looking good right now. Again, you never want to try to catch a falling knife. I would not by any means trade Mara right now, especially off the back of these poor negative fundamentals. And yeah, I'm just glad I'm not in Mara and I'm in other players in the sector, because I do think that, again, if capital is invested in Mara, that capital, is already interested and excited about Bitcoin mining and the business of Bitcoin mining. So it's going to be like, well, we're still up on the money's still up, still made some profits on Mara because it's still way up from where it was, over the course of this summer. And I'm going to take some of those profits and put them into players within that same sector that I'm passionate about that are not seeing as much love. My favorite player in the space, you guys know this, is Riot. And again, Riot's all-time high is 80 bucks. And we're currently at 42. We could still 2x and have just broken beyond the all-time high. Mara, way beyond its new previous all-time high. So that's important to remember as well. Once again, in that Discord, Riot, from an operational perspective, pretty much just smoking Mara on all fronts. You love to see that. And let's get rid of these because the game's changed a little bit, but honestly not that much. So where do I think Riot is going in the short term? So short term, again, we may be a little this earnings call, although the forward-looking statements were good, you know what? We got to look over the earnings call. Forgot about that. Let's look over this earnings call, and then we'll close it out on the charts with good old King Riot. Okay, so Riot's an industry leader in Bitcoin mining and hosting, reported financial results for the 3-month period ended September 30, 2021. A quote from the CEO: "We are extremely pleased to report another quarter of record financial results," said Jason Les, CEO of Riot. "These results demonstrate the continuous financial and operational improvements that management is focused on delivering for shareholders. Riot's technology-focused, vertically integrated strategy significantly de-risks the company's future growth plans. Additionally, it enhances future capital efficiencies as technological improvements such as industrial scale immersion technologies." If you guys saw that, we covered that. They're like water cooling system, very cool. Are systematically incorporated into future hash rate deployments. With these strengths of Riot's at play, the future financial opportunities for the company are exciting. We'll go over a few numbers here, you guys. Try to keep this quick for you. Of course, go on to read some more of this for yourself. But Riot is an OG on this channel, and we got to spend time. We got to spend time talking to the OG. Okay, so Riot continues to attain significant milestones and position itself for future opportunities driven by its focus on Bitcoin mining. First point, increased total revenue by 2,500%. This is all year over year. Keep that in mind. To a record $64 million for the 3-month period ended September 30th. Keep that in mind, you guys. This, and we'll see this down below. We'll just read this right now. So the average price used to calculate Riot's third quarter 2021 mining revenues was approximately $40K. Obviously, right now we are above $60K. So these numbers are way higher when incorporating Bitcoin's recent spike, recent jump. Riot, obviously, since the ending of this third quarter, has mined a lot of Bitcoin, and they have a lot of Bitcoin on their balance sheet, which obviously, from 40K to 60K, those metrics are significantly increased by 50% to be exact. Good old degenerate trader math right there. Okay, so. Anyway, increased mining revenue by 2,099% to a record $53.6 million for the 3-month period ended September, as compared to $2.4 million for the same 3-month period in 2020. Again, you guys, these year-over-year metrics are staggering. Okay, can you justify $3.5 billion market cap? What is valuation in this market? Freaking Rivian is like $100 billion company. That makes no sense from a PE ratio perspective. But again, that's why. The year over year, the growth that this company is experiencing is staggering. And yeah, if you're not losing money, then what are you doing? You're not trying hard enough, right? That seems to be the mentality in freaking 2021. So increased BTC production by 482% to a record at 1,292 Bitcoin during the 3-month period, as compared to 222 last year. So fair, I mean, yeah, 5xing right there. Increased BTC production by 91% on a sequential quarter-over-quarter basis, with 1,292 BTC mined in the third quarter of 2021 as compared to 675 mined last year. This is the kicker. This is what scared some people right here. Produced a net loss of $15.3 million for the 3-month period, as compared to a net loss of $1.7 million for the same 3-month period in 2020. So again, not good. Obviously, they are losing money. They were expected to provide a profitable EPS or earnings per share. They did not. They were unprofitable. But again, if you're not spending money, you're not trying. Okay. Again, if you watch all the, we took a look at it at that immersion cooling thing, like all the like those raceways, almost kind of what we use at like our oyster farm over here. It looked like that, and it's super cool. And again, they're investing into infrastructure in mining equipment, and obviously the more you can mine, the more hash power you have, the more Bitcoin you mine, if everything's going all right, the more money you make. Okay, that's revenue. So reported $37.6 million in adjusted EBITDA for the 3-month period ended September 21, as opposed to a net loss of 4 cents. Adjusted EBITDA, it's a weird stat. Substantially all of the current assets as of September 30th, totaling $179 million. Very impressive asset basket, are highly liquid. You like liquidity, especially in this market. As of October 31st, 2021, the company in unaudited BT balance sheet stood at 3,995 BTC, all of which were produced by its mining operation. So you love that. They're mining them, they're keeping them, and that Bitcoin, of course, over time, maybe not in the short term, but medium to long term, of course, will appreciate in value. Definitely long term. The average BTC price used to calculate Riot's third quarter 2021 mining revenue was approximately 41,000. Again, 42K, 20K above that right now. Subsequent to September 30, 2021, the company successfully completed its previous announced $600 million ATM equity offering, or ATM offering. Okay, so good stuff here, you guys. Again, when it comes to those year over year advancements, those year-over-year statistics and analytics, Riot is absolutely crushing it. Again, down, I don't know, probably we'll just ballpark 5% at after hours, so down a total of 10% today. Still outperforming Mara significantly, but as I said, as I just mentioned, I do think Riot still, yeah, I do like to see the Riot still at a buy. Mara is no longer a buy, which again, if I'm feeling it one way, the good old TradingView bull meter is kind of the cherry on top of my my existing thoughts. So Riot volume is still looking really good. We are still in an uptrend. If we do like today, we perfectly bounced. Well, I guess we're below this right now. We're like around here right now. Still technically setting a higher low on this short-term uptrend. And again, you guys, I just think just watching these stocks play together for so long, this capital is still going to want to find a home. And Riot's earnings are very impressive. Their Bitcoin balance sheet, their hash power, the progression, again, their infrastructure build-outs. It's all good stuff. It's better than Mara's earnings call, definitely in my opinion. So again, I do think capital will flow from Mara, maybe even big caps if the equity indices start to sell off. Maybe we see that flow into Riot as well, because it's looking good. But again, BTC definitely looking a little questionable right now. We'll have to see how the rest of this afternoon plays out. But as for Riot, if we do see downside, I cannot see us going below, even if we do go sideways for the remainder of this week, I can't see us going below about $38. Maybe we come up to test the line of support on this uptrend, on this kind of ascending channel right here. I'll consider that like that. Just a general ascending channel, just ballparking it. So I do think we'll trade in this range. I still think it's likely, again, if in the case that we do see capital, as I was just mentioning, flow from Riot into Mara, maybe by the end of this week, which is November 19th, the end of this trading week, we could see that initial price target of $55, hit 54, 55 bucks. But again, maybe we trade down a little bit and start to make our way up next week or something if Bitcoin does start to recover. Okay, so again, you guys, just make sure you adapt. Keep your head up. If you had a bad day, I know a lot of you had a bad day. And hopping in the Discord before I recorded this, a lot of people weren't very happy. I know a lot of you guys like Riot. A lot of you guys were, especially over the past month or so, liked Mara. But as I said to someone in the comments who was roasting me for not thinking Mara had much upside potential, you got to zig when the rest zag. Okay, so we'll leave it on that note, you guys. Just let me know down below if you had a rough one. Give you a nice little pat on the back in the comments, and just be nice to each other, because I feel like a lot of people lost a lot of money today, especially if you're watching this video. Obviously, if you're watching this video, you're invested. You probably lost some money on these guys. Okay, so keep your head up, you guys. Just adapt. Always keep an eye on what Bitcoin's doing. Keep an eye on what the market's doing, because ultimately, Mara, Riot, going to be reflections of Bitcoin and the greater equity markets. So stay on your toes, guys. Keep your head up, and I'll catch you guys next time. See you downstairs in the comments. Until then, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.